Welcome back to the Lawyer Diaries. Today we are talking about what to do when work is slow and you're low on hours. I think this is a uniquely lawyer problem because it's obviously very stressful when you have too much work and you're underwater, but it can also be equally stressful when you're slow and you are really looking around for work. As you know, billables contribute to our ability to get a bonus and essentially maintain your job. That's really what matters the most when you're an associate at a big law firm. So it can be incredibly stressful, but today we are going to talk through a couple tips that we have on things that will help you maximize your chances of getting some more billable work.
Exactly. And we talked to so many candidates, and most candidates are in two groups. One, they're really stressed because they are billing 80 plus 60 plus hours a week, or they're just as stressed because they don't have that much work. So whether you fall into the really busy group or the not enough work group, you're stressed and freaking out about your billables. So, if you don't have enough work, the first thing we recommend is that you track all of your time. This means that time spent on non billable hours should still be tracked and put into the system. So, if you are rewatching training videos, doing CLEs, asking for work, there should be a way for you to track that time. Most firms offer some sort of admin or training code, so make sure that you are tracking all of that time, because if you spent 4 hours in a day looking at partners, figuring out who to contact for more work, you need to put that into the system because that looks better than just having a 0 hour day.
Yeah, absolutely. You would much rather have a day full of you doing reading legal news, doing CLEs, going out to coffee chats, taking summers out, etc., than a day with 0 hours. Then people actually don't know what you were doing. So it's so important to track all your time, even if it seems silly because it's not billable. Our second piece of advice is to ask for work every day and ideally leave a paper trail. This is a piece of advice I got from a partner actually. You want to have evidence that shows that you have actively been seeking work. So, obviously, if you're going out to lunch with someone and you ask for work in person, that's great and you should be billing that time. But if you're sending emails, make sure that you're sending them to a bunch of different partners multiple times a week. And that way you're accumulating evidence that you have been asking for work. And that's just
Exactly.
really helpful for people to know that you weren't just sitting around, you know, wasting time.
Exactly. And this is so helpful because if there is someone that you consider a mentor or someone that you think is a great supervisor and you ever want to ask them for help when it comes to like, hey, I'm just not getting enough work, is there anything that you recommend I do? If you have all of this written down, then you can easily tell them, okay, I've asked this partner, I've asked this partner, I've tried doing this and this. And you can just refer back to your notes and everything you've written down and emails you've sent previously. If you don't have a written record and you've been asking for work every single day, you're just not going to remember who you've asked and your methodology for asking, and you're not going to get as helpful of feedback. And like Becca said, if you're slow, this is something you should be doing every single day, Monday through Friday, multiple times a day. You don't want to just be taking your Fridays off because we all know that that's an easy thing to do when times are slow. You want to just make sure on your calendar, 9 a.m., I'm going to ask for work. And noon, I'm going to ask for work again. And that's just something that you're doing whenever things are slow.
And remember that you don't just have to reach out to partners. You can reach out to senior associates or even associates your year, chatting with them about any big case they're staffed on and where they might need extra help. And maybe you can get at least a one off assignment there or potentially even get staffed on a case.
Exactly. Number three, Watch your new matter reports and look at those reports. Every firm that I've worked at has had some version of a new matter report that comes in and says, these are the new clients, and this is how the firm is representing these clients. And more often than not, there will be a partner associated with that new matter. These reports are gold for associates who are looking for new work, because often if this is a new matter and a new client, the partner hasn't thought about how they want to staff this matter yet. So look out for those new reports. And if you see something that's interesting to you, or if there's a new client and the partner is someone that you have a great relationship with already, reach out to that partner and just say, hey, I saw that this is a new client of yours. I am interested in being staffed on this matter. I'm hoping that you can keep me in mind. And partners will be very impressed because not a lot of associates know to do this. And it's a great way to also connect with a partner that you are hoping to work with and you've never had the chance to work with before.
Yeah, that's such great advice. And I never did that, but that would be really smart because it shows that you're being super proactive and you're on top of your stuff and you're really looking for work. So that's a great piece of advice. Our next piece of advice is basically to maximize your brownie points during this time. And you can do this two ways. One, obviously, you may have already thought of this, max out your pro bono hours. Usually, you will get a certain amount of pro bono hours that count towards billables. This is a great time to max those out. And if you have unlimited pro bono, even better, because then you're still billing and still working. And I think something that often can be forgotten about pro bono is that even if it's not exactly what your practice is, you're still learning skills. So if you're a litigator and you're put on a pro bono litigation case, you're still learning litigation skills, which are so crucial. And you may even get more responsibility than you would on your billable cases. So obviously, get pro bono work as much as you can, and then show up to events as much as you can. If you're low on hours, obviously you have the capacity and people will probably know you're low on hours. So you should be showing up to events. If there are summer events, this is like super important to meet summer associates. And that way you also get just more interaction time with partners and you can maybe even get work from showing up to these events.
Such a good point. And Becca, I know earlier you and I were talking about at firms, it's so funny. The senior partners are the ones who are the most passionate about summer events. So if you show up to a summer event, chances are they're going to be senior partners at that event. It's probably going to be you, a few other associates, the summers, and then a group of senior partners. So those are the partners who tend to bring on the most clients, the new most matters, and they're the ones who have a lot of power when it comes to staffing. So if you show up and they meet you for the first time and you just tell them, hey, I'd love to work on something that you have in the pipeline. I'd love to shadow you at some point. That is fantastic. And you might get assigned on something.
Yeah, it can be as much of an opportunity to schmooze for you as it is for the summers.
Exactly. Number 5, this one's really important if you're low on hours. Show up in the office as frequently as you can. I know that this can be challenging because when you have a light day, there's a lot of temptation to stay at home, run some errands, maybe work out, etc. But it's actually these slow days that showing up in the office is the most helpful for you, and that's because being physically present can lead to so many more opportunities. I mean, I know that this is oversaid, but there are so many conversations that happen when you run into someone in the hallway. And also, if you're low on hours, but the folks at your firm see you in the office hustling and grinding all the time, they're more likely to give you work and they're going to make note of the fact that you're there. And maybe other associates who are also low on hours aren't there. So they're going to give you the work when it comes.
So true. I mean, visibility is key, especially when you're low on hours. You're just maximizing your chances of getting more work. And also, we know partners love to see associates in the office. So, again, this is another brownie point situation as well, even if it doesn't lead to billable work.
And one thing that's important, Becca and I both live in California, so we know that commutes can be brutal. If you can't show up every day, and we do recommend, if possible, show up every day. I know that's hard, but it is so helpful. If you can't show up every day, make sure that the days that you are showing up are the days where other folks are in the office. So we all know Fridays tend to be light in office days. So don't make Friday your day, make Wednesday and Tuesday your days. And also, if you can only show up a handful of days a week, make sure that you're really socializing and being outgoing and making your presence known on the days that you are showing up so that people know that you're present, that you're invested in the firm, and that you're excited to meet new people.
So true. It might sound silly, but leave your office door open. Strike up conversations at lunch instead of going and eating lunch in your office or alone. Like, be super chatty, ask people about what they're working on. Again, because this might lead to work and it's also great visibility. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's all we have for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments or DM us. Till next time.